From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible great news to go into a Sunday afternoon about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. I'm really excited for you. It's that monthly stimulus check that starts in the month of July and continues month after month thereafter. It's incredible great news. Fourth stimulus heats up with a vote in July and comes month after month. But what was the breaking news yesterday, today, and last night? I have all that across the board. Then we turn to fifth stimulus, which is SSI and SSDI reform that will raise your benefits up. Also, if you're on veterans benefits and survivor benefits. But what was the breaking news on Friday that could see you adding an additional 20% on top of that? Wow, incredible great news. And then I got $5, $10, $15, $20,000 of money for you to get right now. And I also have a deadline of you for Monday for some of you to do something to get big money on top of that. It's a big noontime. It's a big afternoon. It's a big Sunday. I'm excited for you for all the breaking details. The fourth stimulus package is heating up with a monthly stimulus check, the biggest payout you've seen in the history of this channel. And this is Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Afternoons LALATE on a Sunday afternoon. I'm really excited for you. This is your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 with incredible great news about that monthly stimulus check that would start in the month of July, but the breaking news that impacts the amount. We'll go over that in this recording. In the second half of the recording, after the commercial break, we'll go over fifth stimulus that'll raise your benefits if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and survivor benefits, but also the breaking news that could add an additional many percentage points on top of that lifetime. Wow, incredible great news. And then we'll go over the automatic money land in your bank account starting tomorrow and the other money that will be landing throughout the next few weeks, but you may have to do something and that deadline may be the end of Monday. This is LALATE, the only 24-hour a day, 7 days a week financial news channel. The only one of its kind online, reporting to you literally around the clock. Now with that 9-hour overnight broadcast, which you love, starts every evening, goes all the way to the next morning. Jump into the live chat and talk about crypto from Wall Street to Main Street, from my home to your home. This is LALATE, so make sure you subscribe. 400,000 subscribers in 1 year. We're about 100 away, so get us there. Also, like this video and consider becoming a member. And with that, let's get to the fourth stimulus check update of 2021, starting with the amount of the stimulus check. The issue at hand is how many checks, and the breaking news impacted that across the board. The stimulus check had remained a speed issue because ultimately the faster we get it done, the better it is across the board. But now the major change across the impact is the amount of the stimulus checks and the number of the stimulus checks as well. When we look at the fourth stimulus package, it's important to understand how many checks are at issue and how many checks are really across the board. Let's start with the House proposal. The House proposal provides stimulus checks for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. The Senate proposal provides stimulus checks from now to December. And while the House is progressives and the Senate are moderates, the amount of the checks may be the big difference. The House members propose $1,000 after the first month, which is $2. And then the Senate has proposed a monthly amount that is unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Oh, wow. $2,000 a month if you are, if we're looking at the first possible payment over 6 months will be $12,000 an individual, or $1,400 a month over 6 months, which is $8,400. Now, here is why the data changed over the weekend and started on Thursday. When we look back at the House proposal and we talk about pandemic plus 1 year, that means that the House proposes to give you a stimulus check for every month that remains of the pandemic. And over the last few weeks, we were saying, 3 more months, 4 more months, plus 12 is 16 months of stimulus checks. And then came Thursday, when the White House and the administration shocked Americans by saying the mask mandate is gone. If you're inside or outside and vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. Then on Friday, the president announced that on White House grounds, it's gone. Then yesterday and today, major corporations across the country said the mask mandate is gone, if not required by your local jurisdiction. Home Depot, Lowe's, Trader Joe's, all removing the mask mandate, which now leaves questionable whether the pandemic, for purposes of legislation only, will be gone by July when the vote occurs. If that's the case, then the House proposal would provide only 12 months of stimulus checks, not pandemic plus 1 year, because the pandemic may be done by then. And so if you're in the live chat just after 3 o'clock on the West Coast, 6 o'clock on the East Coast, jump in the live chat and interact and express your opinion. Which one do you like? Senate versus House. Senate versus House, here we go. So the House proposal, if there is no more pandemic when they call for a vote in July, that would mean $12,000 of stimulus checks. And if we're talking about the senators, well, it could be the same amount, but in half the time, 6 months. At this point, suddenly the Senate proposal looks a lot more delicious because it's the same amount, nearly, and in half the amount of time. Which one do you like? Senate versus House? Vote right now. Let's go over all the other incredible great details about the fourth stimulus package. Who gets it? You get the fourth stimulus check if you make less than $75,000. Married couple, you get the fourth stimulus check, just doubled if you make less than $150,000. Household 4 or less, you get the fourth stimulus check, just quadruple it. And if you are on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, you get the fourth stimulus check. Would it come in waves? No, because the monthly stimulus check, they can't send it out in waves. Ultimately, I'm a reporter. I'm not a legislator. So I'm carrying their representation, and their representations are the following. That the bill would be called for a vote in July, which means the first check would arrive in the month of July for the month of July. Then August for the month of August, continuing thereafter. Is it income? No, it's not taxable. Is there a different amount of check for young children, adult dependents? Do they get different amounts? No. Everyone will get the same amount across the board. And how is this going to get done? A two-step, 2-month process. Democrats only, called reconciliation. Don't need a single Republican vote. And there you go. That is the fourth stimulus package and the fourth stimulus check updated 2021. But guess what? In the second half of this recording, I'm going to go over not one, but 4 major breaking news and why the other items of forced stimulus, namely unemployment stimulus and rental assistance, is falling apart and not getting support, while stimulus checks is picking up more support. Incredible, great news. Now let's turn to also a preview of what's coming up in the second half of this video, which is fifth stimulus. Fifth stimulus heats up this fall with a 2-step, 2-month process, just like fourth stimulus. And it'll raise your benefits across the board. Which benefits? SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, Veterans benefits, Survivor benefits, and more, and then add a new benchmark. But if one major new report this weekend is right, your benefits could go through the roof. Those details coming up later in this recording. Now, if you are at home, get a pen and paper ready, because this is a full jam-packed 30-minute video, and I have a lot of money to get for you. I have a lot of details for you to take notes on, and I'm going to be going over some of the questions I saw on Noontime LA during the live chat. I'll be touching base on that. So I want you to pick up on all these details. I don't want you to miss any of this money, so get a pen and paper ready. And if I go too fast, you can always replay this video. What I'm going to be going over is some automatic money and some money that's not automatic that you have to do something for. Automatic money I refer to as donut money, meaning you can just eat the donut and watch the money land. But automatic, non-automatic money is sometimes a tough love moment where I'm saying with a lot of tough love, go get the money now, because if you don't, you could have a problem later on. And let's start with some great money. Great money is nearly $5,000 to $25,000 that I told you was available under third stimulus, but would take some time for it to land where it has to land. It's now landing. Next week, more money will be landing your city, county, and states for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and homeowners assistance like homeowner utility bills. It's incredible great news. How much money is it? First, rent, about $5,000, 4 to 6 months of rent. Then utilities, a couple $100, a couple $1,000. Mortgage assistance, depending on your mortgage. And then homeowners utilities, the same, a couple $100 to a couple $1,000. Where do you get it? Get that pen and paper ready. City Hall, City Housing Authority. County Hall, County Housing Authority. State Hall, State Housing Authority. This is third stimulus. If you reached out for this in September, November, or December last year, that was second stimulus. This is a new round. So that money, $350 billion of it is landing the next week, last week, and a week from after this as well. So go get it. What are the keywords you use? Rent assistance because of COVID. Or you could say Biden's Economic Recovery Act. You do not say the word stimulus because they won't understand it and they'll think you're talking about stimulus check. And there you go. Incredible, great news. About $5,000, 4 to 6 months of rent. Now let's turn to SNAP. What's SNAP? SNAP is one of the big success stories of this channel. It is money for food. If you qualify for a stimulus check, why would you not get SNAP? It pays for your food. It's incredible, great news. How much money is it? It's a fortune. It's really a fortune. So a family of four in Hawaii is now getting $16,000 a year. Yes, $16,000 a year because of a Trump executive order which raised it 15% for 6 months and a Biden executive order which raised it for 6 months at 15%. So how do you get this SNAP thing? You reach out to Department of Agriculture. Department of Agriculture, also called 211. Look at this. We're only 10 minutes into this video, and I've gotten $25,000 or $20,000 or $16,000 for one item and $5,000 for another item. We're doing really well. Even if you get $5,000 or $6,000, you're doing great. But it brings me to a very important tough love moment right now. And that tough love moment is the following. That rental assistance is not coming back in the fourth stimulus package. So if you need rent or utilities or mortgage assistance or anything like that, or you think it would just help you to have the money because it will relieve a financial burden, or if you really think that SNAP would really help you financially, go get it. Because these things, with the exception of SNAP, are going away. They're not coming back under fourth stimulus. And here's another reality check. The eviction moratorium and mortgage forbearance is getting removed in September. So you will be up to be evicted if you're not caught up in your rent. That's the concept, that they want you to get the rent assistance now so that you don't face eviction when they lift the order. Now, when third stimulus went live in January, I told you that it's important to be a hawk, and that's what became the expression purple hawk. Hawk, hawk, get the money before anyone else. Pounce, because it's first come, first serve. Don't wait around and start looking for it in 3 weeks from now. I had one viewer said, "Thank you, LALATE. I am going and checking that on Monday morning." Second, there's also going to be a stimulus stampede. That's an expression I coined which expresses when people are all rushing to get the same amount of money at the same time. You don't want to be behind them. They'll eat up all the money before you get to it. So get it first. And that is the incredible great news. Now, with that, you deserve a couple donuts. And let me give you not one, but two donut moments. And first, before I do, let me thank those wonderful, nice messages. 2 or 3 viewers in the last 24 hours got SNAP, sent me very nice messages, and 2 viewers got rent assistance. So congratulations to those. Really great news. All right, let's go to some donut moments. Donut moment number 1. It's great. Again, automatic. You don't have to do anything. Just eat that donut. Is that there's thousands of dollars landing in your bank account that you have on file with the Department of Unemployment starting this coming week. What is it? It's the overpayment you returned back to them at no fault of your own. The Department of Labor has ordered states to return money back to you where states had overpaid you due to computer malfeasance and then asked you to return the money back to them and you had. The federal government has stepped in and said that was a mistake. You should not have had to return the money back to you and has now ordered the states to return the money back to you. Incredible, great news. I had one viewer said that's $5,000 for my husband. When is he going to get it? It depends on the state. Every state has a different routing time. But reach out to your state if you want to know more about when they're returning that money back to you when it was an overpayment due to no fault of your own. And guess what? I got another donut moment, but with some breaking news just today and last night. IRS has updated us and told us that there's now going to be 3 phases of money coming from IRS to you. And phase 1 starts this week. The later phase, and also started last week. Phase 2 will be the end of this week, and then phase 3 will be the end of this month. What is this? It is money for taxes you paid on your first $10,000, $200 of unemployment to the federal government. If you paid taxes to the federal government in filing a 2020 tax return, on your unemployment assistance, the IRS is returning that money back to you. So who is getting the money first? Phase 1, we learned today from IRS, is going to people who are single filers who have, quote, a simple return, which means that there is no dependence on the return and there is no other refunds on the return. Phase 2 is the same group of people who then have dependents or may have other refunds on their return. And then phase 3 are joint filers like husband and wife. So how much money are you going to get? Very easy breezy to understand this one. You're going to get back the taxes you paid on your unemployment to the federal government. Example, you had a $9,000 unemployment year last year. You paid $5,000 total taxes to the IRS, of which $4,000 was taxes on the unemployment. You're getting that $4,000 back from the federal government. How and where? Well, you're getting it in a paper check to your mailbox on that for the address on that return. And the envelope will likely be beige or white, and in there will be a beige check from IRS or Treasury that says refund. The only case in which it will come to direct deposit is if that's the direct deposit on file in your 2020 tax return. Which brings me now to tough love moment number one. Tough love moment number one is if you took out for federal taxes while receiving your unemployment in 2020, you need to file a tax return by the end of Monday requesting that money back. Who is this? For example, let's say you took out $100 a week over 10 weeks for federal taxes when receiving your unemployment last year, which amounts to $1,000. 10 times 100 is $1,000. You have to file a tax return by the end of tomorrow, end of Monday, requesting back from IRS that $1,000. Throughout the remainder of the next few minutes of this recording, I'm going to go over a series of tough love moments that are teed up to this federal tax return, the IRS tax return. It's referring to the 2020 personal tax return, which brings me now to the incredible great news about the money for the children. If you have a child or multiple children, ages 5 to newborn, you're getting $3,600 per child, prorated at $300 a month starting the month of July. And if that child is 17 to 6, $3,000 starting the month of July, prorated at $250 a month. If two things have happened. One, you make less than $75,000, and two, the IRS knows that child's with you, which triggers example number one, tough love moment number one. You never file tax returns, and the IRS doesn't know that child is with you. You're not going to get that money in July. You categorically, 100%, must file the tax return by the end of Monday. Here's an example. A mom of a 5, 4, and 3-year-old that she believes that IRS does not know those children exist must file that tax return by the end of Monday to get that money from IRS starting in July. If she does not file the tax return when July rolls around, she will categorically get $0 instead of $10,000 if it is 3 children under the age of 5. Next, example, tough love moment number 2. If you do file tax returns and you do not list that child, then guess what? You have to file that tax return by the end of Monday. So this is an example of someone who filed a 2019 tax return. The child was not on there. For example, the child was just born in the last few months, or the child was on someone else's tax return a prior tax year, like the ex-husband. Then you have to file that tax return and list that child as your dependent. That's important to understand because ultimately, IRS doesn't know the child exists, which brings us to example number 3. And this is tough love moment number 3. If you do file tax returns and you list that child all the time, but the last tax return was 2019, in which you made too much money, then IRS is not sending you out this money for the children in July because they're going off the most recent tax return that shows you make too much money. If in 2020 you took a nosedive and are now eligible for the money because you didn't make that much money in 2020, you need to get the tax return on file because IRS goes off the most recent tax return. And then we get to the biggest tough love moment, which is the most obvious. You're missing a first stimulus check, a second stimulus check, a third stimulus check, or you're missing a member of the household stimulus check. You must file the tax return by the end of Monday requesting the missing stimulus check. Now, it brings me then to, I believe, 3 major moments, and these have been triggered by a series of questions from viewers over the last few days. I want to be very, very clear on these tough love summaries right now. If you don't have to file a tax return because you don't make enough money, or you're on SSI or SDI and you're not required to file a tax return, it's important to understand that not being required to file a tax return is different than voluntarily file a tax return. Every American is allowed to file a tax return. Just because you're not required to doesn't mean you can't voluntarily file a tax return. But what's important to understand is that if you're not required to file a tax return, that has nothing to do with what I'm covering in this video. What I'm covering in this video is that IRS has made categorically clear that in the case of where you have to fix something, you 100% triple underline 3 exclamation points must file the tax return by the end of Monday. And if you don't, you're not getting the money. So here's an example. IRS doesn't know that child is with you. You know that IRS knows that child. You know that IRS has no idea that child's with you, and you don't make any money. What do? If you do not file a tax return, you're fine for yourself, but that child is not going to get that $3,600 ever. You must file the tax return. That's the first major thing that I want to tell you. The second one is, if you try to think of an extension, don't, because I don't want you to think that you're going to get things on time if you file an extension. Here's the example. Let's say you file extension on Monday. When would you get the money for the children, for example, that starts in July? You could potentially get it next year. Why? Because IRS is paying these monies on their timeline where everything is very tight and crunched. They're really under the gun on time. And so if you say, I'll give you information about my children on an extended return, which I'm going to file a few months from now, you're not going to get paid in July. You're not going to get paid in August. You may get paid next year. So if you're happy getting paid months later, nearly a year later, that's what's going to happen. And finally, it's very, very important, this one, is that some people are taking one situation and confusing it with another. Here's what's important to understand. I've seen a lot of people, even in the morning shows today, where they dropped in the comments, I went to the IRS tool and it says my check was sent on March 26th. I haven't found it yet. I keep on calling IRS. I don't know what to do. I make it as clear as I can make it clear to you. And actually, someone responded back to that person's comment with my recording message. You must file the tax return. You must file the tax return by the end of Monday. If you have not received if you have not received the first, second, third stimulus check or missing any members of the household stimulus check, you must file the tax return by the end of Monday. IRS has already determined that anyone who has not gotten the check by now is deemed missing. I had another person said, are they doing any more waves of stimulus checks? I'm still waiting for my stimulus check. Don't wait. Don't wait, because it's not going to come. I can't make it any clearer. It will never come. You must file the tax return by the end of Monday. And if you don't, you're not going to get it. It's going to be the end of the discussion. Finally, what's important to understand is that sporadically since this morning, I've had some people say, but my daughter got her first stimulus check, her second stimulus check, and her third stimulus check. So why do I have to file a tax return? That's not the scenario I'm referring to. I'm referring to when you believe that IRS doesn't know that child is with you at the address on record, then you need to fix it. If you think you're fine, if you think IRS knows the child exists, then you're perfectly fine. I had another viewer ask me, but I've changed addresses since my last stimulus check. Should I file a tax return? Oh my God, of course you should. Absolutely. IRS is going to send everything out to the wrong address. You're not going to get it. It's going to go back to them. Absolutely. That is the purpose of fixing things with a tax return. Remember, the reason why this is a major tough love moment, which is 24 hours ago, is that if you in the slightest bit, just the slightest bit, think there needs to be something fixed, file the return. Do not guess on the situation, because you won't get the money. Guess what? There is not this guess, another guess. Guess what? I got helpers that can help you get rent, utilities, food, internet, free internet, and mortgage assistance. They're the volunteers on the community page. They're news.la.com/community. They're in the description of this video and also in the pinned comment. You go to that webpage, there's a series of cats, a picture of some cats at the top of the page, and that is the community page. They cannot help you get rent, they cannot help you get any type of assistance with taxes or unemployment, but they can help you for all those other items. And they're available for you around the clock. So reach out to them. Here's a little bit about the community page. After the commercial break, I'll be back with more about fourth stimulus, breaking news, and fifth stimulus, the incredible breaking news about this one. Stay informed. I'll be back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now on Afternoons LALATE with incredible big news still breaking about your fourth stimulus check updated 2021. I have that coming up next. And also your fifth stimulus check updated 2021, why your benefits may be raised even more than we initially thought. I have all that incredible great news, but first, subscribe. This is LALATE, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Coming up in 2 hours from now is Evenings LALATE. I don't want you to miss a single item that I'm going to deliver to you tonight on Evenings LALATE. It's a big show, and you're going to love it. And I'll be in the live chat like I am right now. So say hi, how are you? Also, like this video. 3,000 likes and consider becoming a member. PDFs go out tonight that have all the bills and all the details. Let's continue with fifth stimulus and why fifth stimulus got a fascinating twist on Friday. The breaking news is really game changer. Let's go to fifth stimulus and understand what it is starting right now. So fifth stimulus is a two-bill, two-step, two-month process, much like fourth stimulus, except it's in September. And what are they going to do? They're going to add SSI and SSDI changes. And what are they going to change? They're going to raise your benefit limits, remove the asset limit, and add an inflationary benchmark. That's where the breaking news is, the inflationary benchmark. Remove the income exclusion, then remove the marriage penalty. All right, let me go over why Friday's breaking news was so incredible. I've been explaining it slowly throughout today, and I'll do more of it tonight on Evenings LALATE, but it's just incredible great news. I'm just speechless by it. So here's what is issue. First, fifth stimulus will raise your benefits up to a big new number. And that's you. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, survivor benefits, SSA, that's you. Then they're going to add an inflationary benchmark. Now, the inflationary benchmark is going to replace the current benchmark, which is COLA. Every December, you get a letter saying, hi, next year we're raising your benefits $2 or $5. That was because you were tied to COLA. It doesn't go anywhere. So they're going to tie you in inflation. And we've already detailed over the last few weeks where inflation is going to go up 2.5% to 4% next year. So if that's right, then in December you would get a letter saying, hi, your benefits are going up 3%. Let's say, for example, if inflation's 3%. That means your benefits would raise up first with this new bill. And then in December, you get the letter, and if inflation is 3%, you go up another 3%. The year after that, let's say inflation's 0, you don't go down. The way the benchmark works is you either go up or stay the same. You never go down. So let's say it's 3% for 2 years, 3%, and then up 3%, and then another 3% the next year. And let's say it's 0 for 5 years, 0, 0, 0. You don't go down, you stay the same. Pretty easy. So let's go over what happened on Friday. Breaking news. When Jeremy Siegel, a professor of Wharton School of Business, a leading economist and major investor, said that he does not believe the inflation rate is going to be 2 to 4% this December. He was asked the question, what's the inflation rate going to be? He said, I think it's going to be close to 20%. Wow. I mean, this is just shocking. Because look what would happen to your benefits if Siegel is correct. First, they would raise your benefits up under fifth stimulus. And if Siegel's correct in December, if the inflationary rate is 20%, that means your benefits would skyrocket up 20%. And then lifetime, they would never step down, meaning you would stay at that incredible level for the rest of your benefits or go higher. So let's say the year after this, it's at 2% inflation. Then you would go up another 2%. And let's say it's 3% for the next 3 years, 3%, 3%. You would keep on going up. This is incredible great news. If Siegel is right, you would absolutely see a massive increase of your benefits in December after they raise it under fifth stimulus. Now let's go over the other items what they would do. They would remove the asset cap that prevents you from staying on benefits. If you have more than $3,000 in the bank account, you need that God if you're putting those stimulus checks in there. And then they want to remove the income cap that says you cannot work and stay on benefits. So now you can make $1,000, $2,000 a month and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty. It'll go away. Incredible, great news. The marriage penalty penalizes people for being married and denies them benefits. And so people have suffered the penalty while being married, and then others have not gotten married for fear of losing their benefits because of the marriage penalty. Now, love will win, and suddenly you'll be able to marry the love of your life and not lose benefits. It's absolutely incredible. So when would fifth stimulus become law? Again, it's a two-bill, two-step, two-month process starting in September. So likely see the impact in your benefits account by around October, November. And of course, the step up, whatever it is, 3% or sequels right, 20% would be in January. And that's your fifth stimulus update of 2021. Now let's circle back to fourth stimulus. And let me go over something that's very important, which I'll be detailing. I'm going to detail it more tonight on Evenings LA, which is that Republicans and Democrats have universally understood in the last 7 days, in view of the reopening of America, in view of the bad jobs numbers a week ago, and in view of the PPI, Producer Price Index, and the CPI, which are inflation numbers this last week, that certain stimulus items need to go away. But in the same breath, they had said that we need to send out stimulus checks. This is incredible great news because for the first time in the history of this channel, legislators and even governors have understood that certain stimulus items do certain things and don't work, and that other stimulus items do work. And this is what's going on. When you look at Republicans and Democrats, they universally agree that rental stimulus needs to go away. So rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, eviction moratorium, and mortgage forbearance will go away. They won't come back on a fourth stimulus. They also want to get rid of PUA, FPUC, and PUC. They don't want to extend it past this September. They think that unemployment stimulus doesn't work. But ironically, and this is where it's incredible great news, Republican governors, when they're announcing the end of unemployment stimulus, are saying in the same breath, and we're sending out a stimulus check. Why is this happening? Because finally, legislators are understanding that stimulus checks are an instrument to get you caught up on bills. They're not here to replace your unemployment or replace your rent obligations to a landlord. They're just to get you caught up on a bill. And that's why the senators, when we're looking at these monthly stimulus checks, have that mindset in play. Those senators want a fast cash infusion so that you get caught up on your bills coming out of the pandemic. If the pandemic ends in July for legislative purposes, not for medical purposes, but for legislative purposes, then millions of Americans may still not be caught up on their bills. That's an easy concept to understand for any legislator, not caught up on your bills, even though the pandemic's ended. So how much does it cost for people to get caught up on their bills? That's why the Senate plan makes more sense for some people across the board. The infusion of the money is the same as the House plan, or potentially more, but it's faster and getting people caught up on their bills in 6 months. During the scope of this recording, we went over the fourth stimulus check, the breaking news about the fourth stimulus check, and why that monthly stimulus check is the best payout you've ever seen in the history of this channel. On Evenings at LALATE, I have more breaking news about what's going on with the fourth stimulus check just today. Then we went over fifth stimulus, which is a similar process, a two-bill, two-step, two-month process. Instead of July and now, it's in September. But if Jeremy Siegel is correct, the inflation rate may not raise your benefits an additional 3%, but rather a potential additional 20% on top of the raise that fifth stimulus is going to give you as well. And then in the middle of the recording, we went over some money that's coming automatically to you. Congratulations. But other money that you may have to do something by the end of Monday. Remember, when we talk about tough love, we talk about doing the correct thing. Don't make excuses for yourself. Don't guess. Don't roll the dice. If you are unsure of the situation, file the tax return. I see some people, despite all odds, despite all situations, seem to be adverse about filing a tax return. If you really want the money, file the tax return. And I'll see you tonight on Evenings LA in 2 hours from now. But first, subscribe. I don't want you to miss a single video across the board. 2 hours from now is Evenings LA. Follow 2 hours after that with Late Night Crypto, Evenings Crypto, in which I go back on air and deliver the latest updates on the big cryptocurrencies to take positions. And then at 7 o'clock is the incredible 9-hour broadcast in which we literally have a lot of fun live chatting about the latest crypto moves and anything else you want to chat about. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and I'll see you 2 hours from now on Evenings LALATE.